Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Loretta McNary Show. I'm so excited that we are here live in Memphis, Tennessee with an amazing person that we have been trying to get on the show to talk about relationships and everything that goes with it for a mighty long time. But guess what? He is here, and he is Dr. Sidney P. Malone. He is our life coach, so welcome him to the Loretta McNary Show, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. As they say, I'm tickled pink to be
And
here.
you got your pink shirt on for everybody.
Exactly.
But we wanted to also, because you and I were talking prior to coming on air, how we wanted to just pause and be thankful and grateful and offer our prayers up for those who have experienced breast cancer or are going through it, or know someone who is going through or lost someone to breast cancer. So I wanted you to kind of talk on that or offer some words of encouragement.
By being around a lot of females growing up, breast cancer was something that I was made quite aware of when I was younger. And I've just had an affinity for those who are, I don't like to call them survivors, but overcomers.
Okay.
Those who have fought the good fight. Some have gone on, others are still here and remaining, and they're campaigning the cause. And I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring and show my support, because it's not only affect women, but it affects men as well.
Definitely.
And it's something that we definitely need to be aware of. And so I just wanted to bring my awareness to it, as well as show my support.
All right, and it is October, and as we all know, all across this nation and world, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Exactly.
So here on the Loretta McNary Show, and I'm glad that you reminded me that we wanted to pay homage to that, and we'll have more shows. Matter of fact, I heard the cutest thing. One of my best friends, she's a 16-year survivor, so she's having a sweet 16 birthday. This is her second, well, actually her third, her real born, her natural born, her born again as a Christian, and now surviving, overcoming breast cancer. So we're having a huge sweet 16 celebration for that.
And that's it. Celebrate life, celebrate your victories, celebrate your triumphs. That's great. That's great. I love it.
And that's a great lead-in for why we're here, to talk about relationships.
Oh, okay.
And just being better yourself.
Yes.
And I think when we talk about relationship, a lot of emphasis is always put on outside of that person. We always talk about our husband and wife relationships, our spouse, our children and friends, but there's a relationship that we should have with ourselves.
Exactly. There's a series in which we teach entitled 8 Stages of Life and Love. I believe that every person, and this is not a shameless plug, but I believe that every person must understand those 8 stages. The first of those stages include loving yourself, knowing who you are. If you don't really know who you are, then how can you be something for someone else?
Wow.
We always want, and I kid women and men about it, we always want the dream mate, the dream spouse. I want them 6'5", and I want them tall, dark, and handsome, that type of thing. But we need to be answers for them as well. Many times we want them to be a blessing to us, but we ourselves need to be a blessing. Absolutely. And so getting to know yourself, getting to love yourself, getting to understand who you are helps you walk in a wholeness that will prepare you for a relationship.
I'm so glad you just jumped right in there. And this is one of the things I love to say, and I tell my friend girls and everybody that I hear, because I do hear them say, I want him, he has to be this, and he has to be this tall, he has to weigh this, he has to love God, he has to have a sense of humor. They have this laundry list of like 100 million things. And then I'm looking at them. These are my friends, and I'm like, but are you really ready for somebody like that?
Exactly.
Can you make them feel as good as they're going to make you feel by having them on your arm? Are you there yet? And they're not, and I was not, so we have to work on ourselves. We have to be that person we're trying to attract, because you hear it all the time. You attract what you are, or at least what you think about yourself.
Right. You exactly right.
And your realness, because I'm good, I'm confident, I'm fine, I'm fit, but when we go home at night, we're crying because we're complaining about our weight, we're complaining about how we look, we're complaining about, certain things. So when I say that you attract what you are, it's your authentic self, what you really believe about yourself. That's what you. So why do I always attract guys like this? Why do we?
Right. Well, Loretta, again, as you said, we attract those similarities and those things which we believe about ourselves. Many times we don't know what to believe about ourselves simply because we haven't been taught. Love is something that you must learn, and you've got to learn it with each individual. Sometimes when people enter into relationships because they don't know how to love themselves, first and foremost, then they try to love people based upon how they remembered love was in their past. In other words, they want to be with this person based upon how they were with the last person. But those are two totally different individuals, and you have evolved in the process.
Right.
So love is a complicated thing.
It is very complicated.
It is.
It is very complicated. But we do have a guide, and I know, I'm Christian, and I'm not a preacher or anything, but if we want to know how to love, God is the prime example. Jesus is the prime example of how to love. And you have 2 Corinthians 13 that tells you, right?
Exactly.
And you are also a minister, so you quote, I'll quote a scripture, and some I don't know where they are, but I'm pretty sure that one is Corinthians 13, right? And it talks about love and how love is patient, is kind, is forgiving. It doesn't keep score. And when I heard and I read that one, it clicked for me like after the 100th time. You don't supposed to, well, I did this and you did that and I did this and love does not keep score.
It's interesting in that particular passage, people think that is the definition of love. That's not the definition of love. That's the description of love.
Right, that's why I say it's an example.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
In 1 Corinthians 13, it describes how love looks, how love acts. But love is defined as selfless acts of giving. That's designed to please the other person at the expense of self. Love is not an emotion.
No, first and foremost, you have to learn that. Yeah.
It's not an emotion.
Because is that why you fall in and out of love? Because we base it on how we're feeling about that person?
We have a tendency to attach what we call love, but they're really strong feelings.
Okay.
We attach emotional situations to people. And when those emotions change, then our feelings toward that person change because those emotions aren't there. But because love is an action, because love is a decision that we make, if the people change or if they don't change, we've already made the decision to love them. And that keeps us connected and engaged in that relationship.
But we don't get that right, obviously, because, especially when we have a 50% divorce rate and probably higher at this point in time.
Right.
And it is something, because we kind of mimic what we see other people do. We really don't know how it's supposed to look. And then we try to duplicate it. But as you know, and you know this, and you talked about it, every relationship is different. It's
different. And what makes it also unique, the relationship is different, but it also evolves. The same person we were in our 20s, we're not that same person in our 30s. Well, you're still 16, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
you see why he's my Dr. Phil, everybody.
The same people we were 10 years ago, we're not that person anymore. And so not only must we evolve, we must evolve with the relationship. And sometimes people fall in love with where they were versus where they are.
Okay, see, you all have to slow you down on that, because that was deep. That was good, because I'm sitting here thinking, because I'm a single mom. I have 5 amazing, beautiful sons.
Yay.
And I've been engaged twice.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, ring, date, and everything.
Sure.
And I never went through with it. And and I thank God all the time that I didn't.
Right.
Because I am truly not that person. God knew who I was going to become.
Right.
And although I loved, or I felt like I loved those guys at the time, they wouldn't have accepted this person, and I wouldn't have been able to love them like I did and become this person, because I'm more of who God created me to be.
Exactly.
So that is so key. And it wasn't that they were the wrong guy.
Right.
It was just timing.
Right.
It was just timing, because they were good guys.
We have a tendency to fall in love with where we are. And we meet people who can minister to us where we are. Now, how does that translate into lifelong love? The people who we connect with where we are must have that quality or that ability to evolve from where they are and where we are to where we need to be. In other words, you want someone who will grow with you. And that's where those descriptions of love come in. Someone who forbears, someone who's patient, someone who does not hold grudges. Because as we continue to evolve and change, our decision to love should not change. Emotions will change, feelings will change, even body types will change. Those types of things will change, but our decision to love should not change.
Wow, that was deep too. That was profound, because I need to take a break and kind of digest everything and get some bills paid here. But we're going to come right back to that place about the decision to love. We'll be right back in just a moment.
life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help Ativa and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
Okay, and we don't need another break because you do 90 seconds right here.
90 seconds.
Okay.
You want to keep breaks for 3 different segments?
Yeah, so yeah, because we can break it up again. Yeah, to make sure. Okay, yeah.
When life's this hard, graduating can be even harder. But you can help David and the students in your community make it through by visiting boostup.org.
Oh, that's fine. I'm
G Morning Sunshine.
You're
Wakey,
my
wakey.
best producer,
Text me.
quit playing, director.
Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? Lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
We're back just as we promised, and for those who just tuned in, you're watching the Loretta McNary Show, and my very awesome guest is Dr. Sidney P. Malone. He is our life coach here on the show, and we're so excited to have him join us. But we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about, and that's what we'll talk about when he comes on, relationships, whether it's, of course, we want to help you find that special person, but we want to more so help you become that special person.
That's it.
That's what Dr. Sid specializes in. But prior to the break, we were talking about the decision to love and how you have, that is what should be long-standing.
Exactly.
And it helps marriages stay, right?
Exactly. When people understand the concept that love is a decision, and that once you make that decision to love, then there are certain elements that are involved in keeping that decision active. I'm not saying that, and I grew up in the era where there are a lot of couples who just stayed together. The divorce rate definitely was down back in the day. But the problems and the issues were still there. But they had simply made a decision just to be together.
Right.
And they were more so like roommates. I'm sure you can think of couples where the husband just sat in the chair and just maybe watched television, didn't really say much, and there was really no discourse and no, just no connection there. But we're in an age now, an information age, a technological age, an advancing age, where a lot of people now, they don't understand that. They don't understand, I'm too young. I'm not going to sit in a room and you not speak to me, and there's not a connection there. I want love. I want life. I want to be. And that's why that's why we see a lot of divorce and a lot of things happening, because people now, things got to make sense to them. They must be able to understand it. And how do I love a person 20, 30, 40, 50 years if nothing changes, if it's just the same old routine, if we're just two people doing the same thing, we'll become bored. I mean, what do I do?
But then, don't you think some people like that though? They don't want a lot of entertainment. They want to just him sit there and watch you, you sit there and watch him. I guess that's their way of controlling the relationship. I think the biggest problem that people are having nowadays is they are just lack of control. You can't control that person, so you want to leave them, or it's not working, so you just want to, you can't stay because I can't control them. Right,
and that's major. Many people deal with control issues simply because they don't have the control in and of themselves. And so it's easier to have some type of external control or try to project something outside of me.
Yeah, that's the other thing that people do, or we do. I've done it, I'm sure, in my relationships too, but I'm learning. I'm studying now. While I'm single, I'm studying to become one of those Proverbs 31 women.
Yes.
I want to be a wife like my mom. You know, she got to stay at home, I get to work, but I still want to love and care for my husband like she loved and cared for my dad, and my dad loved and cared for her. So I'm trying to figure out how that works, and it becomes, when you have to make the decision, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about what's good for him, what's good for our relationship. And then some people at the other extreme, they give so much and get nothing because they're trying to please. So, and that's what you do. You're counseling people. You're helping them. You're giving them information because you have studied and found these things, and you do a lot of research, and that's why you know this is what will work.
We try.
This is what will work.
You know, it's an interesting passage of scripture that talks about in Genesis, two people becoming one. Was talking about Adam and Eve. Now I know this is not correct English, but this is the concept. two, and the two shall become one, meaning two should always become or be coming to that place of oneness. When you have one person who makes a decision, I'm not going to budge, I'm going to be stubborn, I'm going to stay where I am, well, then that place of unity is now abandoned, and you have one person trying to work in the relationship